They say if you listen closely inside the crumbling halls of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, you can still hear the whispers. Faint, fleeting, desperate. Some believe it's the wind. Others, the forgotten souls that never left. Welcome to Weston, West Virginia, where time stopped in 1994, but the terror never did. This asylum was once a beacon of hope, meant to heal the minds of the broken. But over the years, it became a place where sanity decayed faster than the stone walls. Built during the Civil War and meant to house 250 patients, it eventually overflowed with nearly 2,400 souls, many of whom would never see freedom again. Tortured, experimented upon, neglected. The walls remember, and now you will too. There's something unnerving about abandoned asylums. Maybe it's the silence or the decaying scent of sterilized despair. But the Trans-Allegheny is different. It's not just the echoes of the past. It's the feeling that someone is watching, the overwhelming sense of not being alone. Every shadow holds a secret. Every door creaks with the weight of memory. Every room tells a story, and none of them have happy endings. They say the dead don't know they're dead. Inside this asylum, it feels like they're still trying to convince themselves they're alive. The first room you enter is the admissions hall. A rotting desk, rusted filing cabinets, and scattered paperwork, diagnoses scribbled in faded ink, dementia praecox, melancholia, hysteria, epilepsy. Back then, a woman could be committed for reading too much, a man for depression or alcoholism. But once you were in, you rarely got out. Move further down the hall and the temperature drops. The paint peels like dead skin from the walls. At the far end, the shadows stretch unnaturally long. You don't know why, but you avoid looking too closely into them. It's instinct, self-preservation. Something stirs where light dares not reach. A door creaks open on its own. Step inside the therapy wing. Electroshock machines lie dormant, but the copper scent of burnt skin lingers. The padded rooms are no longer soft. Their stuffing torn out like the insides of a beast gutted long ago. On the walls, scratch marks, deep, frantic, telling of panic that has no expiration date. Someone tried to escape this room, but not through the door, through the walls. Records show that during the height of overcrowding, patients were tied to beds, forgotten for days. Some starved, others were left screaming into nothing. One nurse, known only as Rose, vanished during her night shift. Her body was never found. But her name was scratched onto the ceiling tiles of room 312 over and over, as though she were writing from beyond. Then there's the children's wing. Yes, they kept children here. Unwanted, unloved, or merely inconvenient. The youngest was 4 years old. Small beds still line the room, but the sheets are stained and stiff. Toys are scattered, their colors faded, their eyes missing. Some claim they hear laughter in the dead of night. Not playful, but mocking. The kind of laughter that doesn't belong in this world. A volunteer once found a small rocking horse swaying gently on its own. No windows were open. No breeze passed through. But it kept moving, and then stopped the moment she stepped inside. It's easy to lose time in this place. Phones lose signal. Watches stop ticking. You walk into a hallway that loops endlessly. Every turn feels like a trap. The walls seem to shift when you're not looking, leading you back to rooms you never meant to return to. The surgical unit is perhaps the most cursed of all. Here, experimental procedures were conducted in the name of science. Lobotomies were routine. Patients were drilled, shocked, drained. A man named Dr. Renner, revered by some feared by most, once performed 75 lobotomies in one day. The tools still lie on a stained table, a rusted pick, a broken mallet, a tray of cracked bone fragments. One journal entry, written in frantic scrawl, reads, "They scream even when they're silent. Their eyes never forget." On the third floor is the ward of silence. Patients who were too violent, too disturbed, or simply too inconvenient were locked here in pitch darkness. The doors were heavy, the locks thicker than necessary. No light was permitted, no human contact. Just you, your thoughts, and the shadows. They say some patients didn't go mad here. They met something that already was. Strange symbols mark the walls, etched with nails, blood, or worse. No language anyone recognizes. Yet every visitor reports the same thing. A sense of being followed, breath on their neck, footsteps that stop when you turn around. Even paranormal investigators have fled the asylum. One team from a well-known TV show refused to return after capturing footage of a dark figure crawling across the ceiling, its limbs bending in unnatural ways. They called it the crawler. It was seen only once, but it left claw marks on the exit door. Then there's the attic. Most never find it. It's not on the official map. But some hear noises from above, scratching, sobbing, dragging sounds. A former staff member confessed before her death that the attic was used to isolate difficult cases. They weren't given food, or water, or names, only numbers, only screams. One visitor, curious and defiant, climbed to the attic on a dare. She filmed everything. Her camera was found at the top of the stairs. She was not. The last image shows a pale face inches from the lens, its mouth open wide, but no sound came through. Just static. Then silence. Even the grounds outside aren't safe. Unmarked graves litter the property. More than 2,000 bodies are buried here, some with no names. Just numbers carved into stone. A gardener once unearthed a skull while planting flowers. After that, the earth wouldn't grow anything. Not grass, not weeds, just rot. Some say the asylum is cursed. Others say it's alive, feeding, waiting. It doesn't matter whether you believe or not. The asylum doesn't care. If you enter its walls, you become part of its story. It watches. It remembers. People who've spent the night report vivid nightmares. Faces they've never seen whispering secrets they were never meant to know. One man awoke with numbers carved into his arm. Another began speaking in tongues. A woman who visited in 2010 refuses to speak at all. She stares blankly, mouth stitched shut by invisible threads of trauma. And yet, every year, thrill seekers return. Paranormal chasers, ghost tourists, skeptics hoping to disprove the legends. Some succeed. Others don't leave the same, or don't leave at all. The most chilling part? The energy isn't diminishing. It's growing, as though the asylum is regaining strength, feeding off attention. Every photo taken, every scream echoed through its halls, is another breath in its lungs. They say a place can't be evil, but Trans-Allegheny makes you wonder. What happens when sorrow is so thick it stains the walls? When pain becomes so common it gains a voice? What happens when the insane are not the ones locked in, but the ones who dared to ignore their cries? The answer lies within those brick walls, in every creaking floorboard, in every cold breath of air, in every whisper that brushes your ear, just as you turn to look and find no one there. So next time you hear someone mention the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, remember this: some buildings are abandoned for a reason, and some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Welcome to the asylum. We've been expecting you. You can smell the death in the air before you even step through the gates. It's not rot or decay, it's something else. Something colder. Something that lingers. The Moundsville Penitentiary has been closed since 1995, but nothing about it feels dead. The prison may be empty, but the walls still breathe. They still whisper. They still watch. It's not just another abandoned building. It's a tomb, a 150-year-old fortress that saw over 1,000 deaths, executions, murders, suicides, each one carving their essence into the concrete, each one screaming for release that never came. People think they're safe during the day. But in Moundsville, the sun only casts longer shadows. From the outside, it looks like a Gothic castle. High stone walls, iron bars, towers that claw into the sky. But cross the threshold, and everything changes. The air thickens, the silence sharpens. Even your footsteps betray you, echoing like gunshots down empty cell blocks. In its peak, the prison held over 2,000 inmates. Designed to break men down, strip them of humanity, and for many, it did. But it also became a playground for cruelty. Guards who vanished without explanation, inmates whose bodies were never found, unmarked graves, forgotten files, and one death row, nicknamed the Wheel of Death, where the last thing you heard was your own breath. The electric chair they used was built by the inmates. A crude wooden beast nicknamed Old Sparky. The irony was cruel, constructing the very device that would steal your life. Witnesses said the air would crackle before the switch flipped, that the smell of burning flesh would stay on your skin for days. Some executions went wrong, too slow, too painful. One man's head reportedly caught fire. They say his screams still echo in the execution chamber. But the worst hauntings don't come from the chair. They come from the sugar shack, a basement rec room that became a nightmare den after hours. No cameras, no guards, just inmates, fights, rapes, murders, all covered by the soundproof walls. Even the bravest officers wouldn't enter alone. Today, it's ice cold, even in the summer. Lights flicker, then die. Shadows twist into shapes they shouldn't. Growls rise from the dark. And the stench of blood, thick, iron-like, never fades. Tourists have seen figures watching from the corners. Not quite human, not quite shadow. Something else. Something born of rage and pain. One woman fainted after claiming something bit her. Her arm bore perfect teeth marks, too small for a man, too human for an animal. There's a hallway near the infirmary known as the Screaming Corridor. No one knows why, but at night it wails. Not voices, not wind, just one endless scream that starts low and builds to a bone-piercing shriek. Recordings capture nothing, just static. But everyone hears it, even skeptics. Then there's Cell 17, isolated, hidden, once home to an inmate who believed he was the devil's son. He gouged out his own eyes with a spoon and laughed as he bled. His cell is colder than the rest. Visitors report overwhelming dread. One man collapsed, mumbling nonsense for hours. Another clawed at the walls until his nails split. The cell has been sealed, but the banging continues. 3 knocks, every night at 3:33 a.m. No one dares respond. Walk further, and you reach North Hall, a place for the worst of the worst. Tiny cells, no light, no freedom, just madness. One inmate there was found torn apart. No tool, no weapon, just flesh ripped open as if by claws. No one saw what happened, but his eyes were missing. Gone, not cut, plucked clean, as though something fed on them. People see shadows moving independently of light, hear voices speaking in foreign tongues, chains dragging across the floors, doors slamming on their own. One guard once reported seeing himself in a mirror, but his reflection didn't move. It smiled. And the cemetery just outside the walls? More than 300 buried, some with names, many without. Every Halloween, a mist creeps over the graves and seeps into the prison through the cracks. That's when the activity spikes. Visitors are pushed, scratched. Whispers become screams. One paranormal team's footage showed their equipment turning on by itself, recording a faint message. "Help me." No one had spoken those words, but every microphone picked it up. A priest once attempted to cleanse the chapel. He performed rites, sprinkled holy water, chanted blessings. As he left, the crucifix hanging above the altar fell and shattered. That night, he suffered a stroke. His final words, "They didn't want me there." They say the prison feeds on emotion. The more fear you give it, the stronger it becomes. The more you scream, the deeper it crawls into you. People who leave Moundsville often dream of it. Some wake up screaming, drenched in sweat. Others claim to see the stone walls in their homes, hear the bars rattling inside their closets, or feel cold hands wrapping around their ankles as they sleep. The energy never really lets you go. Former guards won't talk about it. Former inmates refuse interviews. Some break into tears at the mere mention. One man mailed a note after visiting. "It's not the dead you fear in there, it's what they've become." There's a theory that the prison was cursed from the start. Built on Native American burial grounds, just yards away from the ancient Grave Creek Mound. A sacred site, a place of power. Some believe disturbing it poisoned the land, that the spirits turned hostile, infusing the prison with a darkness that could never be undone. Not ghosts, not demons, something older, angrier. Even animals sense it. Birds don't nest nearby. Dogs whimper and pull away. Bees won't swarm. Nature avoids Moundsville, as if recognizing the unnatural energy festering inside. Still, people come. Paranormal shows, thrill seekers, the curious. But some don't return the same. One woman wandered off during a tour, found hours later in a locked cell. No one knows how she got in. She just kept whispering, "He followed me in. He's waiting." Her eyes were vacant, her pulse erratic. She hasn't spoken since. A veteran investigator quit after visiting, burned all his equipment, deleted his files, moved states. He left only one note behind. The devil walks in Moundsville, and he's not walking alone. They tried to turn it into a tourist attraction, a haunted house, a Halloween show. But every year, something goes wrong. Lights explode. People get injured. Staff members quit suddenly. One actor disappeared in 2008. They thought it was part of the show, until his screams were heard from behind a sealed wall. The wall hadn't been touched in 40 years. When they opened it, nothing was inside, except blood. Visitors leave notes on the prison gate, apologies, pleas, prayers, as if begging the darkness not to follow them home. Some even toss salt behind them as they leave, a vain effort to break whatever curse may have attached. But if you've heard the walls speak once, you'll never unhear them. If you've seen the shadows move, they'll never stop watching. And if you've walked Moundsville's halls, your soul has already been counted. It's not a prison anymore. It's a mouth, swallowing time, feeding on fear, waiting for its next visitor. Welcome to Moundsville Penitentiary. It's not the dead you should fear. It's the forgotten,